Welcome to the Great Debate.
Well, hello and welcome to anybody and everybody who decides to join me. I am your host, the NumbedSkull, and here I am with another 2 o'clock show. A lot of people told me they wanted the new time, and then the new time doesn't seem to be working out so well. I do appreciate my ever-so-loving subscriber, Dark Sasuke, for being the first one in the chat and attempting to get me somebody for today. Although I don't think that they're going to make it. Nor do I think the person who told me they might be here on Tuesday will make it to my show. So, with that, it apparently is just me, the Nightbot, the Fussbot, and Dark Sasuke. So, let's go through and do some fun stuff real quick. We're going to talk about what I'm working on adding. And as I talk about it, the bot with my name in here, because idiot me just did what I did, and here it is going to be posting little tidbits here throughout the show. One little tidbit is, if you type in !bone heist, you will begin a grave robbery plan. Try it out to see if you have the bones. Dark Sasuke already hit up the iBones request. She's been watching for 3 hours and gathered 194 bones. And 3 hours right now makes you a regular viewer, which I only have one of, I think. I can check later. Regular viewers get a new command called boned, and it allows them to bone every member of the audience who is also watching. Hey, welcome to the Malevolent Rider. How we doing today? I know I turned it on. Why isn't it working? I will check on the bone heist right now. Let's see what's going on there. Welcome, Bear. Let me send you the link. Let me find the link. Invite. Hangout. That's not what I wanted. I just set myself to the hangout a second time. Technical difficulties here, folks. Thank you all for joining me. I will continue by saying I'm trying to make the chat ever so much fun. If you type in the command line !throw bone and then space and then a number of bones that you have, it should give you the bet. Let's see while I check on the bank heist. I don't know where the bank heist is. I enabled it earlier. Here we go. Bank heist is enabled. It's saved. And all you should have to do is type in bone heist. No capitals. Did you have a capital in yours? No. So why is it not working? I am confused. Traps have not made it on the board yet. Drunkle, welcome. And since you're there, let me do what I'm doing for the first 250 people, and they all get wrenches. So Drunkle needs to get a wrench. I think I sent the tweet to Bear. You should have a link. And I appreciate it, Bear, since Drunkle doesn't follow me on Twitter. Could you, thank you, send him the link? Appreciate it so much. So apparently my bank heist is not working. The throw bones command, I'm not sure. It's on. It should be working. I'm trying to get some games for the chat when it gets boring. And it didn't work, did it? Okay, so something is wrong with that, because everybody should be able to do that. I will work on that. I probably have to do like a test stream and do something there to hand out some. Dark Sasuke is up to 185 bones. Nice. You get 1 bone per minute now. I don't get any bones. Alright, let's go over here. And since we're waiting on these...
Penis!
Vagina.
Vagina? Venus. How's it going?
It is slowly going. Today's only the second 2 o'clock episode, so I don't really know how many people know I'm here. Drunkle, everybody in my chat gets bone. Everybody gets a bone. They get a bone a minute. Trying to keep things interesting. Although I'm not...
Shed it to the Discord.
I appreciate it. I threw it out a couple hours ago so that people would be able to see it. I'm not sure why the fussbot's not completely working, but it is there. Maybe it's just warming itself up, or maybe it doesn't recognize Sasuke yet. I'm working on it. So, Bear, how are you? We haven't chatted.
I've got to get off my dick.
I did touch it.
You did touch it, and my balls.
Hello, Vanilla.
NumbedSkull said hello.
Hello.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, no worries. No worries.
Just had my genitals tickled.
Let's see if I can do some behind the scenes work here, and I will make you and Drunkle, whoops, you and Drunkle pop up, maybe. Go to the lineup, and we'll add you guys there, and then we will change the angle to show today's guest.
You know it's not a good idea having me and Drunkle on at the same time. You know that, don't you?
That wasn't intentionally planned, for the record.
Yeah.
That'd be like having Ghastly and AP
idea.
on at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm gonna have to...
we completely destroyed one Lords of the Night episode. I think Scribe may have wanted to kill us. Can you get me a monster, please? Please.
Oh, monster. All right. Well, let's give Drunkle a moment. Bear.
I didn't touch it. Oh my god. What's going on?
My setup allows for you, as you may remember, to hear any and all sounds, tones, and game noises that go through, just so that you're aware.
Oh, great. So they get to scare the shit out of me.
Do you want me to? I got them all. I got them all.
You deserve to be pushed over for that.
Pushed over. Got it.
For fuck's sake. NumbedSkull, we're gonna fall out.
We're gonna fall out, are we?
Yeah, we're gonna...
So, that way you don't have to follow everything along with the along with the live stream, but the live stream shows the cool camera angles that I work on.
Well, I have it open, so...
There is the game board for you to see. And while we wait on Drunkle, you want to pick the first one?
Ooh, sure. Thank you. Why aren't traps on the board?
Because I have one other new topic that's going up when I run out of ideas for one of the current topics, and then I guess I could put traps on there. That could be multilaterally used.
Okay, sex.
Sex. Every day since I've put this on the board, I swear.
What?
It's been picked every day.
Well, sex is a hot topic.
It is a hot topic. That's why it's in the hot topics category. Studies have been done stating that children who know their parents to have loving relationships helps develop stable sexual relationships in their own lives. Thoughts?
Well, this isn't sexy at all.
You missed a couple of sexy categories. Sorry, I read a lot of papers on some of this stuff, and I tried to get people's opinions on how things sound to them. I guess would be a easy, quick way to state that.
Well, the concept sounds like common sense, in my opinion. It sounds like, at the end of the day, children imitate us a great deal. And if they see healthy relationships growing up and they're brought up with a loving relationship and they physically see a loving relationship between mother and father, then surely that would instill those good values in them.
And I agree. I want to say the study I read into, and it had some situational happenings in there where children would catch their parents going at it, I guess would be a nice way to put it, but predominantly found that children who lived in households where the parents showed love and affection, even if there was a moderate amount of arguing and disdain in the household, the love and affection shown between the parents, if it was on a steady and consistent basis, led to the children of those parents to also search for that type of relationship.
Yeah, well, that does make sense. In my mind, at least.
Do you think that this might be directly correlated with, and I have to say I was listening to Andy go at somebody over on the Kumite, and they're debating race realism, and in the race realism arguments is broken homes and the broken home argument for minorities. Do you think this might play a contributing factor? Do you think this study kind of represents what's happening there?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Oh, for God's sake, my child's just walked in. Just speak to Drunkle for a minute.
Drunkle, welcome. I didn't even see you pop in.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me on, NumbedSkull.
Not a problem. I've tried a few times. It's just text in chat often gets overlooked when you guys' chat gets over 100.
That's true. That is true. And speaking of text, I wouldn't have made it, actually, if R.I.P there hadn't sent me one. I completely forgot about this.
No, it's all right. I invite people a couple of times, and then I wait a while, and then I throw another invite. In fact, I got to re-invite Satsu now that I got a new time schedule because he can't make my morning show either.
So what's the game then, NumbedSkull? What we playing?
All right.
We're talking about butt sex.
Not yet. I think I may have put that on the board. Basically, it's a Jeopardy-style game show board. Oh, man. Soon. I'm going to put it on the list of things to add. Don't worry. And it's now going to be on a hit topic.
I'm only asking because so many other people have.
Bear asked when he walked in. Basically, it's a Jeopardy board.
What's Jeopardy?
Jeopardy is an American show, and I do this very similar but also very different than Jeopardy. Jeopardy puts an answer on the board and you have to ask the question that relates to the answer. What I do is I put a topic on the board. You pick the topic, and under the topic there's a statement or a question, and we spend roughly 5 minutes discussing it and how it affects you and what you see, your perspective, your view.
Okay.
Maybe
so
facts if you have them.
Irate Bear?
I don't think anybody's ever won or lost because I don't score. The point is to make sure the conversations get opened up in ways that some people don't always think about. And the current topic...
someone's winning.
The current topic is sex. And the thought underneath the topic, sex does that. Studies have been done stating that children who know their parents to have loving relationships helps develop stable sexual relationships in their own lives. No, pardon me. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, as long as you mean the parents having loving relationships with the other parents. I mean, we're talking sex and we're talking about children here. I don't think molesting a child at a young age is going to lead them to have healthy relationships in the future. Although, studies have shown, and there is a correlation between children who get abused and grow up to become abusers. So I don't see how it would be any different on the positive end of the spectrum.
Yep, exactly. And I just, before you popped in here, was discussing with Bear how it roughly correlates to broken homes in minority families.
It's all about the blacks, isn't it?
Did I say black? But yes,
Well,
the blacks.
do have a problem. The chocolate people do have a problem with the nuclear family. A great deal of their issues can be attributed to. Don't laugh at me.
Yeah, if you listen to Black Lives Matter, like the kind of people saying, "Oh no, white people shouldn't have children, white people shouldn't have passports, white people should give us their house." But on the whole, I mean, I don't think most people give a shit, really. A lot of people aren't racist, and that's good.
I think a lot of it is to do with poverty and the destruction of the nuclear family and just the bigotry of low expectations. And the absence of the black father as well.
Okay, so if there's an absence of the black father, and that's exactly where I was trying to go at. If there's an absence of one member of the parental structure in a household, whether it be two moms, two dads, a mom and a dad, if there's the absence of one side of the parental structure, then there is nothing for the children to learn from as they grow. There's nothing for them to build a foundation of their relationship on.
Of course there is. I mean, they've got the parents of Friends, even as much as, parents on television in fictional programming. They can still take examples from that. And I think especially when you hit your teenage years, you make such an effort to be the complete opposite of your parents that if your father was absent, then you would consciously make the decision that I'm not going to be like him.
Right. And
I disagree.
It's because you're retarded.
No, it's not retarded, right?
No, you're retarded.
A woman, a mother, cannot teach a boy to be a man. And TV is not a substitute for that.
I learned how to shave watching TV. I didn't have a dad.
A child is able to tell the difference between the television and real life. Having a father at home to lay down the rules, to have that discipline, to have those good values instilled in you from a good father is you can't substitute that with television.
But those aren't necessarily aspects that are solely for a man to do. I mean, a mother can be a disciplinarian. She can set.
But she can't raise a boy to be a man. It's as simple as that.
She can give him the good values. I mean, it's not necessarily to grow up to be a good man, but to be a good human. And it's not like those principles are going to be completely alien to them because they don't have a father. When you are attached to media and you do have friends who have both parents together.
And yet there is massive crime in the black community, considering it's full of single mothers and high abortions.
Yeah, I think you're attributing that to the fact that it's lots of abortions and single mothers instead of just they're black.
See, and you know I've got a point here. You know I've got a point.
You both have a point, and you're both running the opposite sides of the same topic, and that is what this show is for.
It's a big mistake getting me and R.I.P there on the same stream, though.
I did say this to him.
It's working out. It's working out so far. We'll see how it goes. Like I casually tweeted or DM'd to Bear earlier. We're gonna poo on the Great Debate. Yay!
LGBTQ plus alphabet because Drunkle is anti-LGBTQ plus alphabet.
According to Wikipedia,
we have to go for that one.
Dresses are feminine and ties are masculine. Does wearing clothes of the opposite sex make you a member of the LGBTQ plus, or just an individual?
Well, let's not forget they recently added the number 2 and the letter K to
It wasn't recently. That was added early in 2017. It's an
that was
American
recently.
Indian.
In the grand scheme of things, that's recently.
The whole thing is recent. This whole movement's only like 10 years old. My son is older than the LGBTQ plus movement.
Your son's older than gays.
There you go.
Does it make you an individual? It would make you an individual if so many people weren't rocking around wearing dresses. I think you could probably boil the argument down to does what you wear represent the kind of music you like?
That would hold about as much
does what you wear represent
equivalency.
your sexuality? Yeah, I mean, is it gender expression? Is it expression of musical taste, or is it I was a bit cold, so I stuck a jumper on?
Context is king here.
Context is king.
No, I mean, look at the Scots. I mean, they wear skirts.
All right, but they
wear
don't call
kilts.
it a dress. They don't call it a skirt. They don't call it a dress. They call it a kilt.
Yeah,
I did watch that movie.
Gay, that's why.
I did watch that video that Tailed Features shared on how they put it on, and it's not even really a dress. It's a really, really big, heavy blanket that they fold over themselves a bunch.
No, the only reason why they don't want to call it a dress
Pashmina.
is because they don't want to be called gays.
Whereas we do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloody gay Scott.
Would they be
I know, right?
Would
See?
they be gay or cross-dresser then? So you have an entire civilization of cross-dressers.
It's the difference between trans-trender and transvestite. And, transvestite is someone who dresses up as the opposite sex for pleasure, which is absolutely fine. But then, let's just say that every drag queen is a gay man, which they're not.
Dark Sasuke comes in and says, "I wear men's clothes. I have stolen all of my husband's hoodies." And there's one that only works in one direction. Why is it okay for women to get away with wearing men's clothes without calling them men? But if a man goes and, hey, let me borrow your pink silky robe to go check the mail, then he's gay.
Exactly. And, people who've, had a long-term relationship with a girl, that they won't just steal your hoodie, but they'll take photos of them wearing it and send it to you.
Yeah,
and
they will, yeah.
So pretty. Whereas in actual fact, that's a fucking ransom letter.
That's why the matriarchy needs to be destabilized and deconstructed, because I've fucking had enough of my hoodie. It's cold,
And then you end up breaking up with them, and you have to sue for custody. You end up getting your hoodie every second Sunday of the month.
If these bitches,
it's
right?
For them to do it. Every time I put on a girl's underwear and go out shopping, I'm not allowed in that neighborhood anymore, and I'm considered a pervert.
If bitches want fucking baggy clothes, they can go shop at Evans.
That was
those who don't know what
sarcastic,
He got me earlier as well. If you haven't realised, NumbedSkull's a bit of a dick, but yeah, if you want baggy clothes, go to Evans. It's the big lady shop.
Or Giacomo, that's the big man shop.
That is the big man shop. That's the really big man shop.
We have a place out here just called Big and Tall.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a place called Humpty Dumpty's. we don't. But that's what it boils down to, isn't it? Is it wearing a girl wearing a man's hoodie? Is it cultural appropriation?
Sexual appropriation. Gender appropriation. Sexual appropriation.
Gender appropriation.
It's annoying as fuck is what it is.
It's a brand name. It cost me 40 quid. I got it for my birthday. Give it back, you cunt.
So does wearing? What context have we got here? I mean, come on.
It's open. How do you see this? That's the way this works. How are you viewing what's on the screen? How do you see what's being said? If a woman wears a tie, does that make her a man?
No, of course it doesn't. It doesn't really make her a crossdresser either.
But would it make her LGBT plus LGBT? Would it make her that community because she's quote unquote non-conforming now?
No, she's a fucking thief.
The thing is, though, they've added ally to this fucking thing, which, whatever that means. So I guess you could be a heterosexual and be a part of the LGBT. So I guess everybody's a part of LGBT now.
That's their aim, though, isn't it? It's
my
like
answer,
with us or against.
Yeah, so, yeah. There you go, we're finished.
So in conclusion, Riley Dennis is a man and women are thieves.
Yes. Thieving, pikey bitches.
Mm-hmm.
Gas all the women.
Your wife left the room, didn't she?
Yes.
But he says women. I'm not paying attention.
Oh,
can I go
you
television for 40?
For 40? But in Jeopardy, they're done by the hundreds.
Government.
1400.
Oh.
With the current desire for immediate information, why aren't more news shows broadcasting live coverage of worldwide events as they happen instead of replaying reports in sequences?
Well, we currently live on a 10-hour news cycle, don't we? I mean, as a news show broadcasts a certain piece, they have to keep in mind that another news show might be broadcasting a certain piece which is more pressing. Though I do understand, you know, in the question, especially when we've got the age of camera phones and everything, and footage can be taken literally. Have you noticed any natural disaster or any fight or anything that kicks off in recent times? Someone films it. They don't go in and help. They film it. But then you've got the problem of how much they're going to charge for that footage, because footage ain't free, and being in the right place at the right time can set you up for a good portion of your life.
I would just say that the reason why they do it is to keep people interested, thus improving their watch time.
It's all about watch time, yeah. But, I mean, if you're looking at something like the BBC, they're not making money off of that because programming is really paid for by advertising, and advertising is paid for by the programming.
But the BBC are a bunch of cunts.
Do you get CNN?
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Do you get CNN or CNN-style news programming?
BBC, yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is the BBC still need to like prove their worth to the people who pay it, because everybody has to fucking pay it.
On CNN, if you watch an hour of news, you're going to catch every article quick, and then when you move on to the next hour and you watch the next hour of news, you're catching all of the same footage. It takes like 3 or 4 hours for new footage to get cut in, and it's, you know, a 30-second clip here or there, an hour, 5-minute clip here or there, and they cut these in throughout the day, but that hour stays remotely the same as they keep replaying the same footage. Yeah. Whereas old news shows would re-record that every couple of hours with a new person speaking, so that you'd get the fresh update and it would feel fresh. It would feel like current news that they're giving to you.
Used to work for a local news company for a couple of years, and while the stories would be essentially the same throughout the day, it would always have the anchorman's personal take on it. So they'd go in and write the script to cater for themselves. And then, of course, you know, there could be something new has come to light, you know, in between fucking 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. when the news is going to be on again. It would essentially be the same sort of stories. But what really gets me is when you say, like, you've got something like a rail strike, so the trains aren't running. And to show that, they will have footage of just railway lines with no trains on it. Like, see? It's empty. So we get treated by fucking idiots. You see on the GPP all the time, Bear, don't you? Like, oh, fucking spider's eggs found in Lidl's banana. And then you get a photo of just a generic banana. Not even the banana in question.
Clickbait, mate. Clickbait.
It's just poor journalism.
Speaking of clickbait, everybody in the chat's playing with their bones. I have to say, enjoy playing with your bones, people.
I want a bone.
I'd like some ribs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I need a Pyrex disc for some ribs. Got to marinate that shit there. But even worse than that, journalism has actually gotten so lazy now that if you read an article online, or even in newspapers, invariably 2 paragraphs down, it'll go on about what people have been tweeting about it. And you've got a copy-paste from Twitter of some random dowdy kitchen man saying, like, oh, Boris Johnson's a twat.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of these news sites, yeah, especially, I would say alternative news websites tend to be very guilty of it. They'll add in screenshots of tweets that are like linked to Twitter and stuff like that. So they've got backlinks involved in there. And it's just
got any kind of relevance.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, the problem is with putting a tweet is it's anecdotal, it's hardly a representation. But nobody wants to sit there and look at a wall of tweets.
There's certainly not a cross-section of the public opinion either. It's just one random cunt.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how they find these either. It's not like they hashtag BBC News or anything in it. They just must.
Well, they don't need hashtags anymore. They don't need them anymore. You just need merely type the word into the search bar, and boom, you find tweets.
Yeah, they pop up with your search terms. So all the news does is the same thing. They pipe in a search term, and they look for something that just correlates with what they're posting, and they just throw it up there.
Well, making sure that it agrees with their narrative first to give the impression that that is the general consensus.
Are you sure?
Oh, of course.
Essentially, they're using tweets to tell the public what they should think because that's what everyone else is thinking.
Right.
The thing is, though, the public will always fall for that shit. Especially British people, especially elderly British people. Like, oh, this country's gone to the dogs.
That's completely true, actually. I was talking with my grandfather about the whole straight white male thing, and he was trying to wedge Christian in there. And I'm going, no, it's straight white males are demonized. Yeah, straight white male and Christian. Where the fuck are you getting this? All you do is listen to BBC Radio 2. I'm up to my fucking balls in this shit every day. Where are you getting this?
Mainstream bullshit. Yeah.
And
you have to go find this shit, and you have to cross-reference everything. It's really irritating, actually.
It is really irritating. It's just fake news.
Can't trust anything out there. Not even alternative media, because they have their extreme biases, I find.
I get all my news from the Ghost Poo podcast.
It's the best place for it, really.
It's the only place for it.
I watch you guys' news on your show, and I watch Madwoman Muses because she tries to spend a lot of time collecting information from several sources to see how much of it lines up, and then presents the information that lines up along with telling who's telling the different deviations of the story sometimes. So
is that the one that does the morning brew?
Yep, the morning brew.
Yeah, I like a Madwoman Muses.
And she posts both of our live streams, so always good to check out her work.
That's why I like it.
See, with Ghost Poo, we just go to the mirror. We don't even read it before we fucking put it in the DM.
Just find the headline on the Daily Record.
That makes for some good clickbait.
Just type poo into the search bar and the Metro comes up.
Exactly. What more do you want? Can we talk government?
We can talk government. We can talk anything on this board.
Please be an ANCAP question.
An ANCAP question. I'll put that on my notes for later. Why do we in America, apologies, Britain, not use a one-man, one-vote system yet? Would it be better?
Good. Would you care to explain what a one-man, one-vote system is?
One-man, one-vote system would be there's 320 roughly to 350 million Americans here. If every one of them voted, there would be that many votes voting for the president or whatever. So for every person of voting eligibility, they get their one vote, and their vote counts, as opposed to our electoral college, which divvies up sections of areas and then says, okay, you get a vote for this township. That vote goes up to the county, and the county is going to take your vote, and then this is the overall county vote, and then it just trickles upwards by quantities.
Yeah, I mean, the one-man, one-vote system does sound more legitimate. I think the whole divvying up by counties and states thing is just a sneaky way for politicians to go, oh, no, but that means I win, because if you do it this way, then I got more votes.
Hey, Gutenberg, how are we doing today?
That's one thing I really disliked about the American election. I understand why the Electoral College is there. It's to prevent the tyranny of the majority. I get that. But it's not exactly the most representative thing. What we have here in England or Great Britain is first past the post system. So you win a county, that county then equals one seat. It's supposed to be representative, but it's not really the best.
It's not any better than the American system, really.
No, it's not really. I mean, if you look at UKIP in the 2015 general election, they received 4 million votes and only one seat because they won votes across the entire country. They got more votes than the Greens, Plaid Cymru, and the SNP combined.
And of course, you've got, with the first past the post system, if, say, Labour get 34%, Tories get 33%, and Lib Dem get 33%, then Labour will win, despite the fact that the overwhelming majority, 66% of voters, didn't want them in power.
Gutenberg says, no, California and New York.
Yep, I was just about to bring that up.
Is that not the tyranny of the majority?
Yeah,
is the tyranny of the majority, though? Because, I mean, I think it's the Second Amendment, isn't it? The right to bear arms is to prevent any tyranny within the government. It's so that people can rise up.
Yeah, but we can't use that excuse for the Second Amendment anymore, really. The government has drones. I'm just saying. Like,
I have drones. They just don't have guns on them.
Well, put a fucking shotgun on them.
Yeah, that is so un-American, Numbskull. What are you doing?
Yeah, why haven't you put a gun on it? Is there a mounted gun on your roof?
I had to pay for my FAA license on it. Come on.
It's like the whole of America is just one big tower defense game.
That would be awesome.
I'd play it.
Fucking A.
I'd sit in the tower all day.
There was one guy and another guy. They had drones and they attached rifles to their drones, and they were basically playing tag with them, just trying to shoot the other drone down.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, if you're not an American, unless you have a gun mounted onto your roof that you can access from your
chimney,
From the attic or the chimney, yeah. You
Got like a turret system.
There we go.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
throw bones is now working. I see, Dark Sasuke. Here in America, everything has a gun rack. But how do you put a gun rack on a 5-pound flying drone? I'd need maybe a little rubber band slingshot.
Oh, peg guns.
Peg gun.
Everything in America can be converted to a gun.
Oh yeah, like fucking medical equipment. Yeah,
Exactly. That's what you want.
Legos.
You want.
scalpels, tiny little pistols.
Legos
Yeah,
can
boom,
be
boom, just
converted to
smash
a
out.
gun.
That's where master builders come from. Yeah, build a Lego gun. Boom, sorted.
Oh yeah. Was that a Lego gun fire pieces of Lego?
Yes, it's not particularly
those
deadly,
little square
but
gears, the long gear shots, they look like an X from the end. They're like 2 inches long. You just put those in there. You
Yeah.
put a little rubber, one of the little flat pieces on there. Put a rubber band in there and spin it around a couple times. Put a lock stick through it and then just pull it back.
see, look, we've already got a trigger mechanism housing for your Lego.
And you don't really aim at your enemies because you're firing Lego bricks. You aim at where they're about to step. That's how
Yeah.
you really go.
Yeah, and they step on it and then they die.
And then they die because they're allergic to Lego.
Oh, that's bullying. We can't make fun of people that are allergic to.
Because
Wait,
of
I
fucking
have to
rabbit.
ask because Bear is here. I have to ask: is it a Lego or a Lego piece?
A Lego
It's-
piece.
It's a Lego piece.
But
I can't stand it when
a Lego
Americans
piece is still a
pluralise it.
Lego.
Legos. I got a box of Legos. No, it's a box of Lego.
It's
Lego
Lego.
is the plural of Lego.
I
Lego
swear,
means
my
play
son has a
well,
box.
doesn't it?
I'm gonna have to look. I think there is an S on it.
No, there's not an S on it because the Lego's the brand. You don't like go and get a bottle of Naked. You don't go. I'm picking up some Nakeds.
Send
There's
me some
bottles of
nakeds.
Naked.
Send me some nakeds.
That's just send nudes. Send pop.
No, that's the new one. No more send nudes. Send nakeds.
Send
Politics.
Naked.
Politics.
Well, you picked the last one, you bitch.
Yeah, let Drunko
Yeah,
get something
well,
on
you-
this
you-
board.
Oh, fuck
The
Drunkle.
fuck, mate.
Fucking grade A under A over here.
Okay. I'll go controversy for 800.
Controversy. My mouse.
Controversy, whatever you want.
Controversy. We must have a controversy here. People should be responsible for their own health insurance, and government single payer shouldn't exist. Apologies for the USA ones, but it's easier to find my own news when I do searches.
You knew that you were inviting two Brits
You
onto your.
knew.
This one hasn't been picked in a week at least, so this has been sitting there.
What exactly is a single payer?
Single payer is government provided health insurance where the government collects all the money for health insurance and then pays out from their pocket to cover all the insurance so that everybody is covered.
Right.
I like the idea of everyone being covered. I mean, at the end of the day, hospitals are a necessity, even if you're not using them. And if you're not using them, then you should allow someone to use them in your place.
Okay, and what if they're being overused?
Yeah, but our
you
system
should go
isn't
home.
exactly the best.
If they're being overused, then we need more hospitals.
But
I mean,
Our
health is-
system's not the best, Drunkle, though.
I love the NHS though, Bear. It's there and it takes care of everyone, no matter what. No
Have
matter
you,
what.
have you not been in an A&E on a Saturday night?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So you should know then, right, that it doesn't exactly work that well.
Well, I mean, how else is it going to work? If you can't afford it, then it's just going to be that in the street, isn't it? It's going to be people with fucking dislocated shoulders. Just
I have a
walking around the
general
street on
question
Saturday
for
night.
you guys about your health care coverage over there, okay? If a
Yes, I've seen
person
old people die in the corridors in the NHS hospitals.
if a person who did, let's say somebody didn't have health insurance and they walked into one of your hospitals to seek care, would they receive care without health insurance?
Yes, unfortunately,
Yeah, you
we
get
do
it on
have
the
health.
NHS.
We have health
However-
tourists.
If you if you're making money and you're like, right, I don't want to fuck about with the NHS and see people dying in the corridors, then you can always go private. I mean, no one's
Yeah, but we don't have a market though. It's fucking monopolized by Bupa.
Yeah, but then, when it comes to healthcare, who really gives a shit about, monopolies and everything? Healthcare is your prime concern. It is more of a concern than money, surely.
But how much tax do we end up paying for the NHS to exist? And it's a never-ending, it's a bottomless pit. The NHS.
It is
in
a bottomless
terms of
pit. It's not the
It's
first time I've-
taxpayer money.
It's not the first time I've heard it referred to as a bottomless pit either. And a lot of people will say, how much money is it going to take to get, to get this on its feet and everything. And I think really, if you turn the question around, like, there's the money should just go however much it takes. Yes, it might be a bit of a bottomless pit, but who gives a shit about money when you've got a fucking tumor growing out your eyeball?
Well, the thing is, we have to think about the bigger picture here. At the end of the day, the country has a budget that has to go off every year. How long can we, as a nation, sustain it?
Well, things like sugar tax and everything. If it exists, we've got a tax on it. The government's always had a sneaky way. It's not even sneaky anymore. They're so fucking barefaced about it now. Of getting your money. I mean, look at how much MPs get paid at the moment. If you brought that down to minimum wage, you've just freed up like 40 million.
Yeah, they
and you've just reduced the desire to want to pee an MP for long periods of time, and I believe that's the same argument we have with our government.
That gets rid of your career politicians, and you'll find that it's like Sunday League football. If they still keep their day job and everything, you'll find that you're actually getting the right person for that position as well because it's unpaid.
Okay.
They just want to do it for the greater good. The greater good.
In America, I watched this whole Obamacare kind of stretch through. I was moving up into management as all of the laws were taking effect that affected how we had to structure things and move people around and hire. When Obamacare first came in, one of the big things was a huge hour cut because of the requirements to be on Obamacare insurances and the mandates and everything. We immediately cut anybody who wasn't full-time to increase our overhead to be able to afford the requirement that the business had to make towards the healthcare investment. So that's a tax that the business has to pay to the government so that the government can repay back out to health insurance. In addition to that, if an employee does have health insurance through the company also contributes to the employer-contributed health insurance programs. So we have both government and private health insurance depending on where you fall, income and work-wise. Now, if you don't have any health insurance and you go to a hospital, they cannot and will not refuse you care. You go to the hospital, you rack up $30,000, you're still sick, you end up dying, that $30,000 is gone. That's lost money to them. And the entire establishment has been built around them knowing that they're going to lose a certain percentage of money from not having had insurance. When Obamacare kicked in, none of the prices or any of their policies really changed for how they provide health care, but the costs went up so that when the health insurance companies had to negotiate, or the social services had to negotiate the cost, they won't pay the hospitals and doctors' offices the full value of the procedures. So all those procedures were marked up so they'd get a higher percentage of that value. So this whole health insurance thing has basically caused the cost to go up and yet give you less coverage for the minimum levels because more people are paying higher amounts to get the minimum levels, to cover everybody to have it. I have to say
that it should be on a business to pay that tax either, because it was ever so recently in the UK that businesses now have to start paying towards their employees' pensions, whereas before the employee would pay into their own pension. And that's a mandatory thing for a business to do now. And it just
out here, it's
them
still
more.
optional.
You know how difficult it is to run a small business when you've got overheads just being piled on and piled on and piled on.
What used to be a benefit or a perk to employment, what used to be something that drew in hardworking, good employees, is now becoming mandated for everybody, regardless of how willing they are to do the job.
Exactly, and you can't have something like, I serve fries at McDonald's because the health insurance is great. You can't have that. It's, good jobs should have good health coverage. That's what causes you to be kind of more mobile, social mobility and wanting to climb the ladder a bit more because of the benefits you'll get.
How much government interference has there been in American healthcare insurance?
I don't think it's been directly into the healthcare insurance, except for I believe it's now been repealed. There was a healthcare insurance mandate which fines you on your taxes at the end of the year if you didn't have standing coverage through the whole year. But other than that, I don't think they've had a direct impact on health organizations or coverages. That has all changed on its own based on the writing of the bills that were put in from Obama.
But then, if you look at what insurance basically is a wager, isn't it? So like car insurance, you are betting the insurers that you're not going to have a crash.
Right.
You know, and if you do, then you get a payout. But doing that, gambling like that with health, I think is morally wrong.
One of the issues I think I've seen with American healthcare companies is that they will often rip their customers off by not covering, well, everything that they should be covering, really. That they leave a lot of stuff out. They have like lists on these insurance sheets that cover specific illnesses or accidents and stuff like that. And the reason why I was asking whether there was any government interference was to see whether there was any kind of monopolization making healthcare go through the roof, or fucking with the market.
I want to say in some of the Midwestern states, some of the less populated areas, and there aren't as many insurance companies out in those less populated areas because there's not the money to be made, lean more on the government planned health insurances where they were mandated. So I want to say, I'm not sure how, but I want to say in those states with fewer companies to provide the insurances to people, that the state took on the burden of it, and I'm not sure how that overall affected those areas, but I don't hear good things, so...
Well, I mean, especially...
I know this, though.
Insurance companies do not like to pay out, either. They will make you jump through every hoop before they pay out.
From the perspective of an employee, my health insurance that I had from before Obamacare would cover all but a $20 copay when you go to a doctor's office, a $100 copay for an ambulance, $100 for emergency room, and $50 for a specialist. And there's spend downs and there's increases. There's different terms, which means you have to spend a certain amount, and then once you pass that, they'll pay for an amount up to another amount. There's this field that they'll cover for you. And that I've noticed since Obamacare has changed, that field gets smaller, your copay gets larger, because the price of what you're going to get at the doctor in the last few years since this has came in. I know a physical used to be charged to me at $95 about a decade or so ago. I just got my daughter's physical form and bill in. It was $195.
Damn.
Just for a quick physical.
Especially with the rise of private healthcare as well. It's not like you're getting the best doctors, because all the best doctors have gone into private healthcare because it pays more.
I would, I know how Americans feel about a nationalized healthcare system. For the most part, they don't like the idea of it. They don't like the idea of having to pay taxes so someone else can use the system. It's not really the right attitude to have, but I think maybe even over here, we could reach a middle ground with this.
See, I don't know. I like the taxation. You know, if everyone pays into it, everyone can use it. I mean, as the, you know, for whom the bell tolls and everything, it tolls for thee. If one person dies, we all suffer.
I think the thing
but
with
the NHS
insurance,
has been mismanaged for years, dude. Like, and obviously we've had health tourism, which is a bigger problem.
I think
that needs to be addressed.
I think with the insurance, the thing is that people who are paying for it, opting into it out of their own paycheck and going, hey, I'm spending, right now I think it's $80-something a week we're spending on our own health insurance. I'm spending this much a week out of my paycheck. I'm going to opt to be a little healthier so that I don't have to pay extra bills on top of that. As opposed to you get these people that sit at home and they're, 400-pound fat, lazy slobs that eat potato chips and are hooked up to an oxygen tank all day, that don't feel that need to try and stay healthy because it will cost them if they're not healthy. And I think that right there is the downside to single payer, is it doesn't matter who you are or how you take care of yourself, you're still rewarded the same. It's equity, not equality.
That's a good point, actually. It's like a monetary incentive to be healthy. Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Drunkle, do you remember that fucking bitch, right? Who got 10 grand tits off the NHS?
Oh yeah, you can't do that anymore. I mean, things like plastic surgeries, now you can only get it done on the NHS if it is like really dire. Oh, you can get like breast reductions.
I would say
if you're having respiratory problems because of it.
I would say if you're like a soldier who's been to Afghanistan and you've got a leg off and you've got half a face off, yeah, absolutely, 100%. you know, or some kind of other horrible disfigurement, then yes. However, bigger boobies, no, get the fuck out.
No, goodness, no.
That's on your own dime.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Bear,
I
ever
think a lot
so
of people in
excited.
Britain I think a lot of people get annoyed with people abusing the system, and like, not to make a fat joke pun here, but the NHS is currently crumbling under the weight of fatties, and old people as well. Old people are a big problem. We need to cull them off. No, but seriously, I think investment in education would help cut down the costs of NHS. If we raised all of our children to be, you know, be interested in health and fitness, stuff like that, yeah, I guess there would be a lot less.
There has to be positive feedback for doing positive things and negative feedback for doing negative things. And there is currently, under a government-controlled or subsidized health plan, there is no way to give negative feedback to people who treat themselves negatively and have the largest burden on the healthcare system.
Well, of course there is. I've got one of my patrons is on the transplant list at the moment, and because it wasn't self-inflicted, he got bumped to the top of the list because it was due to an accident he was in years and years ago. It was completely out of his control. If it was, you know, if it was like he was having liver failure because he drinks a quart of vodka every day, he wouldn't be at the top of the list.
And that would be about
I guarantee
the only
if
thing,
Labour ever gets back in, if Labour ever gets back into power, that shit will return.
Yeah. But I mean, as you said about the NHS, though, with crumbling under the weight of fatties, they're on the bottom of the list. I mean, smokers are on the bottom of the list.
We're fucked.
I don't smoke.
You know what's weird, and I don't divulge my name, so I should be okay. We've got our we just changed insurances, and we got our health thing back. And on the health thing, you're allowed to get 4 out of 6 pass. You're allowed to fail 2 out of 6 of the criteria. I had 5 out of 6, but one of the ones I passed was not smoker. And I'm looking at this like I should have failed that one. But I guess I still have 1 more point, so fuck them.
Speaking of smoking, here's a
quit
cigarette.
Smoking for the purposes of filling out this form, and now I smoke again.
I've been
they can
slowly
test for
quitting.
that, mate. They can test for that.
I smoked a carton a week about a year ago. I'm down to about 3 packs a week now and still slowly decreasing.
Oh, man. See, that's tailor-made as well, though, isn't it? That's like the filter tip. I roll my own.
I roll my own for the most part.
And I roll mine prison thin as well. Guilt-free fags, they're called.
No. Prison thin, you got to tear out the Bible page. Do you tear out your Bible page to roll them up? Yeah.
I call them prison tabs, but
yeah. Well, I see the size I roll them. I would need about 5 for it to equate a normal hand-rolled cigarette.
Yeah.
Yep.
Creator tips.
Creator tips.
I got a tip.
Difficulties are found in audio connections. There are a few options to choose from. Thoughts? I will note before we go that OBS has its own audio.
I should not have chosen this as a topic. I should not have chosen this as
Voice
a topic.
Meter has audio. XSplit has its own audio, and there are paid programs that will also do it for you.
Okay, finished.
How do you mean audio connections?
For instance, you guys, and different streams do it different ways, you guys can hear anything that I want you to hear. And
I will punch you in the penis.
I don't have Sinatra's soundboard. I have a digital soundboard on my computer. But because I run everything through Voice Meter in a certain way, your conversation that I'm having with you guys on Hangouts comes in on one line, and all of my conversation and my audio comes in on another, and I keep them separated into OBS.
Yeah, I do that, but with just OBS, so there's no need for anything else.
I don't even do that. Just Hangouts, mate. Straight and Susie.
Okay, so I noticed
it's easy to make silk purses out of silk, but I'm doing it out of rocks.
Wow, working hard. When you go to play...
OBS, I have mic input and I have audio output. That's all I need. I don't need soundboards. I don't fucking need any of that shit.
Okay, so when you play a video and you have a group watching, do you run into audio echoes? Besides the fact that you don't like using your headset?
I don't like using my headset, but I do for proper streams. like I am right now, for example. But I don't generally watch videos. But in the event of that, I guess I'd copy Sinatra and use my circle to do that.
Yeah, I've noticed that's one new way I've seen. I have it. I've looked at it. I've played with it. I can do the same thing. The problem is when I go to load my circle, because I have my desktop audio separated from any of my chat audios. If I go into my circle, I actually have to swap the audios and add my circle to the chat audios so that it overlays with whatever anybody else is saying to me, or it echoes through the stream. And this is, I see a lot of people. Have I?
Yeah, you go way too far for this shit.
Yeah, you could just do my circles and share the screen. Done.
You can literally, if you're watching the live feed right now, you can literally, in a disconfigured format, see exactly how I'm running OBS. Or not OBS, exactly how I'm running Voicemeeter to show you guys everything.
It's a bit complicated.
It's a bit complicated.
With my circle, you just send people the link. They go to it. They can watch a video in a separate tab. Everyone goes quiet. Someone controls the video, and people can hear it through audio output. Boom, done.
I have tried other ways, and I noticed that I get audio echoes or feedback loops sometimes. I know it's all about the in and out settings, but being able to separate the channels makes it a little bit easier for me. I actually wish that Voicemeeter had more virtual input channels for me to use, so I could add Skype and Discord and have chats across platforms if I could separate the audio properly.
But yeah, you just need to set it up like a reaction video. You just need to put headset in and boom, there'll be no echo.
Yeah, done. I don't even use a headset. I just got some shitty fucking headphones that came with my bloody mobile phone.
Yeah. Sorted. Not even a proper headset, just some headphones. So headphones, microphone, make sure it's all cushy, set right in OBS. Boom, bring up the video, drag it onto screen. It goes through audio output.
Not even OBS, man. I've got 4 gig of RAM. I can't use OBS. You're lucky I make videos at all.
Well, you can do it through Google Hangouts. I don't actually know how you do it through Google Hangouts, mind you. But
there is actually an audio control. I have the ability to touch it here, but it tells me I don't have access because I'm not broadcasting from Hangouts.
Well, yeah.
See. Oh, yeah.
There is a control room in Hangouts.
Yeah.
But I haven't used it yet.
I played with it once, and then I right there joined and went, "Whoa, you're loud." Sorry.
Look, right. There is one of my favorite acronyms, right? KISS.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly. Keep it simple, stupid.
Well, it could have just been keep it simple, couldn't it? Like.
Yeah, but that's not really.
You have to add a hom in it, or add hom, or nobody will remember.
It's an acronym.
Yeah, it is it's a military acronym, so it has to be rude.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, why not keep it simple? Spick.
Along with planning prevents piss poor performance.
Proper
planning.
Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Nice to know you learned something from the Navy, Bear.
I learned. Hey, just to make it clear, I learned all the same stuff in prison.
Hey! You should be rolling cigarettes as thin as mine, then. Can I go, what the fuck, or for the win, please, Numbskull?
It's...
Bad choice, bad choice.
A deadly flu virus can potentially wipe out a large portion of the planet. We are still susceptible to these types of mass casualty diseases. Are we still susceptible to these types of mass casualty diseases, or more so?
Are you sure that's not causality?
Mass causality, you knobhead.
Oh, I can't spell.
Are you dyslexic, Numbskull? Do you need a chat?
The program that I use for this, I can't always tell when it says the word isn't spelled right. Because the line
is right. It's just the wrong word.
Oh, then maybe that's why I couldn't tell. That'd be a good reason, wouldn't it? Casualty, not causality.
Yeah, obviously, we're still susceptible to that. I mean, we're probably well overdue some kind of mass epidemic.
Mm.
Did you hear about
we do have an antibiotic crisis going on at the moment where everybody's like immune to antibiotics. So in the event of a pandemic, we're pretty fucked, to be honest.
Well, that's it, because as antibiotics are getting stronger, so are viruses.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's antibiotics aren't a
Do you know
cure.
why?
It's, you know, they will build up a resistance to it as time goes
Well,
on. They
the thing
mutate.
is, NumbedSkull, when I do my dishes, right, the thing on the bottle says it kills 99.9% of germs. So only the most badass fucking germs are sat on my plate. And that, you know, that worries me a bit, you know.
And we've killed all the weak ones as well, so you've got nothing but the badass ones left. It's like every time you kill a spider, you're making the species more silent and deadly.
Yeah.
There's two ways to look at this. There is the way to look at this where we have entered into a society that has almost been sealed off from the outside. We've kind of cut off germs and diseases to a point where our bodies might not have necessarily built up an immunity or tolerance to them. So just the right strain of the right disease or bacteria would inevitably kill a large portion. But because of our advancing knowledge and abilities, even with there's a current strain that is antibiotic deterrent. I want to say, I forget exactly how it's worded, but you're right that antibiotics don't work on it. And the reason for that is because most people, when they take an antibiotic, will not properly take the full term of the antibiotic. They'll go, oh, I feel better after day 3. I'll take day 4, day 5, 6, and 7, stay in the bottle and go in the trash. The chemical makeup of these antibiotics is made to take a certain amount and to build that amount up in your body to a point to fight off what's there. Just because you feel better doesn't mean that it's gone. It just means your body is actually fighting it. So people who don't continue to take the antibiotics aren't killing it. They're offering whatever they had the ability to adapt to the antibiotic instead of the ability for the antibiotic to adapt to whatever's attacking.
Of course, yeah. So, when you've got, you know, the newest generation of kids aren't going out and playing in the mud and everything, which is essential to a child's well-being. You know, you've got to exercise that immune system. Kids are meant to play in dirt. They're meant to eat worms. You know, that's vital for
I was about to make the same suggestion. You know, eat some mud. You'll feel better.
I mean, going back to irate bears, you know, fucking, like, Dettol kills 99.9% of germs. And you're like, well, it's not like 10 years ago there were massive bouts of cholera or anything like that. So, you know, let's have some germs, for fuck's sake.
Right. So at the same time, are we so protected that if something happened, and there is a flu strain right now that was unexpected, apparently, I want to say I read a report late last week. There was a study, or there was a report, I forget now, the H1N3 or something like that out in the West Coast. They had planned for a certain strain this year. The strain that they planned for the flu shots didn't at all match the flu, and people are coming down with deadly cases of this year's flu virus. You are seeing...
Yeah, it's like the...
What have they called it, this one? The human flu? Because we've gone through all the animals. Oh, yeah, Australian flu. That's what we had here in the UK. Yeah, it's pretty unpleasant stuff, actually.
It's like the whole the film The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. The boy was born without an immune system, so he had to be kept in this plastic bubble. And that's essentially what society is in at the moment, this plastic bubble. And as you said, you know, we're so protected, we cut ourselves off from germs and everything, that if one were to get in and break that plastic bubble, it would fuck us up.
It's a good thing my son's school does outdoor learning.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, yeah, my son goes to a school where they do outdoor learning. They have like this area of what they call the woodlands. It's just a very small area of quite a lot of trees, I guess. And he comes home caked in fucking mud every day.
Yeah, good. Like a little boy should, mate.
Well, the thing is, I don't want it every day. You know what I mean? Like, oh, fuck off.
Go ahead. Keep going.
With your beep. You know, I can't afford to replace uniform all the time.
Wash it.
Yeah, and then it fades, and then you need to replace it.
A new one.
Well, no, don't be such a silly sausage, right? Fucking, you're running around, you're skidding around, you're fucking damaging the clothes that you've got on. Every time you wash it, you're decreasing its lifespan.
Yeah, but that's what they're for, you know. It's protective covering for your skin. Plus, he's a growing lad anyway. He's going to grow out of them in a year or so. Get your worth out of it.
You get 3 to 6 months out of a young boy's clothes until they get to their young teens.
See, that's 3 to 6 months of skidding around in dirt.
Yeah, well, my son's got my immune system. He's basically immune to all diseases known to man. So,
except Downs.
But Downs is not a disease. It's
it is when you've got it.
No, it's a way of life.
Let's see what else our chat has to say. I don't want to make them feel like we're ignoring them. Most of them are shouting at their bones.
I'm ignoring them.
Malevolent Rider, I put my guns on a woman's rack, if you know what I mean.
Hey.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it might go off.
Weight on their chest to cause them back problems.
My town has small insurance companies. We don't have big brand companies. That happens. But a lot of those companies work for larger companies or are affiliated with larger companies in the U.S., just to make you aware. I'm not completely healthy, but I have made many changes to the diet, so no longer have to constantly go to the doctor. See, and when you have to pay for your own insurance, that's a huge incentive to be healthy. Malevolent Rider loves the band Kiss. Trying to run down through the chat here and ignore the bones. Rider don't run, she rides. And it looks like it's just a bunch of bones after that. Everybody's playing with their bones. That makes it ever so fun in the chat. So, that brings us over an hour-long show, which is wonderful. Because I almost always go over the hour. How did you guys like that?
Good.
I want politics.
You want to do another one?
All
right, we can probably pull one more, but when my daughter gets off the bus, I got to cut the stream. Politics. Discuss personal viewpoints of infrastructure, roads and bridges versus universal health care.
See what you did, Bear? We could have had video games.
Yeah, this is pretty bad, actually. What is this asking us to make a fucking choice between roads and bridges versus universal? Oh, is this comparing both of them because they're both necessities?
They are both relatively a necessity. They're both relatively, in both of our countries, government mandated or required, and they're both very, very high dollar expenditures.
Well, I say universal, or just healthcare in general. There has to be some kind of certifying body for that. You know, you can't just have not just anyone can be a doctor. You know. You have to be recognised and everything to be an official doctor, and that's fine. However, I don't like that the government are in charge of who can build roads.
But you need roads to get to the hospital, just saying.
You do, yeah, but it's like building a road is not as bad, it's not as hard as performing a triple bypass. I don't think the government should have any say in who builds the road and bridges and where, you know, as long as they're built correctly and safely. Whereas when it comes to healthcare, yes, you do need some kind of certifying body to say, all right, you're a doctor.
I only agree with you because our government makes the worst decisions known to man when it comes to our fucking roads. Like a bus lane on the M25.
Yeah, for right next to a fucking cycle lane. Like, what's the point?
It's the M25.
Plan it very well either, is it? We've got fucking windy, bendy roads going around the fucking ass end of nowhere, one-way streets and shit like that.
That's why
the Germans came over, did us a favour by bombing the shit out of us, and what do? We just built it exactly the same.
That's why it takes so long to get anywhere in the UK, because fucking swirly, fucking curly roads that go fucking nowhere, up and down hills, flatten it.
If you had to choose one of these things to give up for preference over another, if you had to say, okay, I would let the government let go of healthcare in order for the government to provide better roads, or I would let the roads go to people who can afford to throw in and do it themselves to get better healthcare for everybody, which would be more important?
You described anarcho-capitalism, haven't you? It would be any businesses would be in charge of building and maintaining roads because they need those in order to get their clientele in and make money.
I would also argue that if people chose universal healthcare over roads, that it would stimulate the SUV market.
Which I already have one, so I'm okay.
There you go. See, NumbedSkull's already sorted. Healthcare is
#1 priority, no matter what country you are. It should be #1 priority, and under that, fucking probably education. And
I would be concerned, you know, about the costs that it would cause for the universal healthcare to actually use like dirt roads, because that's what we'd end up with: dirt roads and potholes and shit. I'd be quite concerned about the costs that would mount up. In that event.
Your response basically says you would rather have the government make sure they keep you healthy than make sure they provide for you to provide for yourself.
I can walk.
Well, no, because you're putting it down on the individual to take care of roads then, but it wouldn't be. It would be businesses around those roads because they
But who's
need
paying
those
for
roads.
them?
If you the businesses, I mean, it would be up to them to build and maintain those roads because it would be in the best interests of their business to have a good road coming to them. As R.I.P just said, you'd have dirt paths. You wouldn't, because no one's going to go down a dirt path to go to a Tesco.
I bet they would if that was the only option they had.
Maybe up in like Yorkshire.
You'd be surprised some roads I drive.
Hangout with, I was in a Google Hangout with Magog not that long ago, and he showed me the state that he lives in, and a lot of the roads were dirt paths.
Yeah, all right. That's Magog though, isn't it?
It's very country.
I honestly, I have to tell you,
country.
I've driven dirt roads that are in better shape than government infrastructure roads.
There you go.
Fucking
There you go.
potholes.
And you got to bear in mind the businesses that would be paying for it as well. We're not talking like, a little corner shop. We're talking fucking Tesco, mate. And they've got like a turnover of so many billion.
But you're saying you would rather your
government,
spend money for everybody to be healthy than for them to spend money for everybody to have roads and bridges to travel on.
I think communities would come together and do a whip around.
Have a whip round, have a round robin. I mean, think about it. If you don't have healthcare, you don't have the people to traverse those roads. Healthcare should always be the #1 priority because the people, the populace of your country are your #1 commodity. Then your roads are going to get affected as well.
Yeah, I think community leaders would, rally the troops, and they would start. They'd raise money for it, just like how we raise money for charities.
Leaders, though, that's when you start going into with community leaders. You start going into government again, though, aren't you?
Yeah, but they just basically form councils that are unofficial.
Okay, so you would rather have small groups, pockets of people worry about the roads in their own area and have the government universally look over everybody's health, than have the government universally look over the roads being well maintained and you worry about and partake in your own health.
I think I know what would happen. I think I know what would actually happen in this event. I think that the companies that build the roads, that maintain the highways, that build the bridges, what they would simply do is put fucking tolls on everything.
Yeah.
And how would that work out?
I don't know. I guess people would have to pay. They'd have to work out their costs, their overheads, all that kind of stuff. They'd, if there's enough people using the roads, and the prices won't be that high. And I guess people would have to pay X amount every month to they're basically replacing government with a private company.
All right, so my health care is completely covered. The roads are shit. I'm just gonna walk to my neighbor's house, steal food, and get away with it. I should be able to survive from there, right? My health care is completely covered for. I don't have to go to work because I've got full health care.
Mindset here. I mean,
this is what I'm saying. I'm arguing against whatever you tell me. Don't worry. It doesn't. You can change your mind, and I'll argue the opposite.
What are you saying?
I'm saying for some reason you guys are putting the health and well-being of everybody above the structure that holds that together.
No, this is the health and well-being that holds all of that together. Without people, you haven't got any roads.
I don't understand where you got this run next
just
door
randomly
someone's food.
All right,
because I can do that with roads, and without roads. I can do both of those things. I can steal from someone with or without a road.
I would personally, this is my viewpoint, I would personally rather my government take my tax dollars and spend them on something I am going to use and everybody else should be using, rather than trying to keep everybody healthy.
Isn't something you would use and everyone else should be using universal healthcare?
No. I won't go see a doctor until there's something seriously wrong, and I've paid my doctor bills for that, and they're not cheap, which is why I don't go see doctor, regardless of how the insurance plays out now.
But
a lot of people have that same
payment. It's not like with universal healthcare, you're paying that same amount every week in taxation. You're not. You're paying a fraction of it.
Also, you are a walking, talking petri dish.
Yes.
You can get ill at any moment. Any of us can.
Right.
Especially you.
So why should it be my responsibility Why should my tax dollars pay for everybody to be healthy? When I would prefer my tax dollars to pay for because the road is costing me a lot of money on repairs to my car.
Like, what if you don't have a car? What if you don't walk? What if you're housebound? Are you still expected to pay those taxes towards the road?
Yes,
because
you are. Because you still own the land, you still own the car, you still have to pay for them, regardless. That's how it works here.
So how is that any different from universal healthcare? If you're housebound, you're not using the road yet, you're still paying for it. Universal healthcare, you're healthy, you're not using it, but you're still paying for it. How is that any different?
Not everyone uses the roads.
Not everyone uses the health insurance. And
well, we're not talking about health insurance.
Here's a fair question.
National health system.
Here's a fair question. What's going to last longer? The road or the person being treated?
Depends how well the road was constructed.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a fair good point.
Say, especially around here. Fucking potholes, a new pothole in my road every fucking week. So
now, if Tesco were in charge of your roads, mate, that would get taken care of because they've got the money. It wouldn't be a case of we need to put it through requisitions or anything like that. They would just fix it.
Do you know what I bet would happen? I bet, right, if let's say Tesco took operation of the roads within 100 miles of like its supermarket,
yeah,
the road wouldn't be black with white stripes. It would just be branding all over the road.
Also true.
I guarantee if companies if private companies got hold of the roads, right, the roads would be covered in commercials.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? Like, you know, that's part of the economy, isn't it? Because
it's off-putting, though, mate. Look. Come on, every commercial has a bit of sex in it. You know what I mean? You know, sexy like underwear and stuff, and you're looking down the road.
I'm watching out the window for the bus malevolent.
It wouldn't be that. It'd be like when you're watching football and you see like on the sidelines you've got like Ford advertisements or something. You just go, oh look, Ford, and then you carry on watching the football. If you're watching like the Cartoon Network, you've got the logo in the corner, and after a while, you just stop seeing it.
Yeah, but you know what these fuckers would do? They'll add massive adverts. Like the entire road would just have Tesco written on it in big.
Ford,
fuck it.
Chevy Yield.
I don't know.
I mean, then it's down to you to not be so easily fucking influenced, isn't it?
Well, as long as it's not too bright, I guess.
Being bombarded by advertisements anyway, mate. I mean, there's billboards on the side of roads and shit like that.
Well, we don't need any more, do we? Because fucking everyone.
I mean, it's people paying money, you know, and when people are paying.
ANCAP now being added to the list of ideas for the board.
Advertisement.
You cut out quite a lot there, Drunkle.
Oh, so yeah, it's getting to that hour, isn't it?
It is actually. It's past that hour. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's fun to not talk to myself for the hour.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to do for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I know, right? It's Tuesday.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, drunken Uncle spends most of his time staring at a wall, so...
Because he's got nothing in his apartment
If only there were a Tesco logo on
it. Oh, dear. You know, we're going to end up like the Society from the Demolition Man, where everybody listens to fucking commercial jingles on the radio rather than actual songs.
Yep, they did that in Idiocracy, too.
You're trying to knock it when you know it.
And Taco Bell is every restaurant. Or every restaurant is Taco Bell.
Well, I want the old Milky Bar one. The red car and the blue car had a race. I love that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
I'd be happy with that, actually. So.
Fucking ringtone, mate.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if the chat had anything fun to say. Dark Sasuke. My brother-in-law had a huge hatred for the doctors. One time he fell from a tree, then got knocked out. When we said he needs to go to the doctors, he woke up and said, hell no. I cut my foot open with a chainsaw. I called the ambulance, repaired me. They told me what it would be to get into the ambulance, and I knew what the bill would have been at the doctor's, so I scheduled an appointment for the next day to go have it looked at. I walked in, they looked at me and said, good job, you cut it. I go, I need it cleaned out. There's cotton and wood and other stuff in there. They're like, no, we can't do that. You're just going to have to let it heal. So from that day forward, I said, fuck you. I sterilized some tweezers, pulled all the shit out of my foot, and taped it up. It's not a huge hole. It's about the size of my thumb across the side of my foot.
Drunkle, what he just said, what NumbedSkull just said, I can't even fathom that.
Really? Because I got really bored one night and just started sticking pins through my arm, like, you know, from one side to the other side, and then it got infected, and I had to take care of that myself.
Yeah.
Well, you call 999, ambulance turns up, and they go, right, we see what's wrong with you, but this is how much it's going to cost you. So they pull out a card reader before you can get in the ambulance.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
No, they collect your information when you get in. You will get a bill in the mail, period. But not getting in the ambulance, I got no bill. All they did was came and put some patch on my foot and left.
I changed my mind. I'm going back to National Health Service. Fuck your system. Jesus Christ.
Oh, for some reason the bone hoist isn't working in the chat. They can't steal the bones from the bone jar. I'm working on that. I can't figure out why it's not working. Yeah, I have a new fussbot, and fussbot has a whole bunch of stuff, and one of them is called a heist. So if you type in, where is it? It says you're supposed to type in exclamation bone heist, and then it's supposed to come up with something that says user is planning a bone heist, type bone heist, and then the amount. And then there's the bone jar, the graves, the crypt, and the death master. So you can rob up to 4 banks. And there's a whole bunch of messages and stuff that you get for succeeding and failing and how many bones you get. I can't figure out why it's not working.
Bone train.
Bone train. What's the bone train?
Who wants to ride a bone train?
If Dark Sasuke wants, she can type in the command boned. I don't know if that'll work. It's the only one I have.
You should add in the question, why are ANCAP so fucking delusional?
Why would you think an anarcho-capitalism would be delusional?
I'm not going to get into that with you now. You need to end it. if you want to challenge me on that, I'm doing a call-in show in 40 minutes. That Drunkle's helping me co-host.
I will. I will let my wife know that I'm going to live stream again later. You said 40 minutes, so about 4. That'd be 9 your time, 4 my time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully, I'll have you guys on in the future. That goes for anybody in the chat who would like to be on the show. Feel free to get hold of me.
Thanks.
It's been an awesome show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a little different than what everybody else does, and it's done a little differently. And I try to keep people on their toes and offer sometimes so stupid they're just stupid. Sometimes stupid funny. Sometimes realistic things to talk about. And with that, let's see if I can't get this outro to play. And you'll hear it too. Bear with me.
The red car and the blue car had a race.